Yeah, I quit my job because I didn't have time to do what I really wanted to do. And my job was a corporate job that only paid me enough to live in my city. That's literally it. Um, I worked really hard to get that job. I spent about 6 months out of school and 6 months in school looking for a job. So that was roughly about a year. No, probably a year completely out of school looking for this job. And I worked really hard for that and I did get it. But even when I got the job, hold on. It's so beautiful out here, right? We all can see everything. Even when I got the job, I can tell they just, it was that thing where it's like just you're at the right place at the right time. I mean, not just at the right place at the right time. Like my credentials and my resume did speak for itself, but that was really it. And of course, we know that's what corporate jobs are. Like they're not looking for the next Bill Gates to work at their job for an associate level, coding thing or something. But I was really happy. I was really happy, and I'm still really happy that I got that job. But as soon as I started my job, it was a complete shift in a very shocking way. As soon as I got that job, I instantly became depressed because when you're in an office for 8 hours a day, like when you go from doing what you need to every day to sitting down for 8 hours, being in one building for 8 hours, and work using your brain for 8 hours straight, it completely shocked my life. And my job was not remote; it was in the office, and wearing a full suit, wearing like some level of professional outfit, and working around people who are in their 40s and 50s and just doing like this almost tedious stuff. It was kind of hard stuff, but it was more tedious than anything. For every day besides the weekend, it drove me nuts. I will get into that later, but it was a very shocking period. And then after that, it was just adjusting. But in those 2.5 years, I realized what I wanted to do, and I realized not only what I wanted to do, but what I wanted to use the rest of my. Okay, hold on. Literally, all my stuff just started flying away. Yeah, I had a breaking point even within my job about a year ago, and in that moment, I realized what I wanted to do. I realized I wanted to do fashion and I wanted to do film, and it's nice. It's really nice that some people have the privilege to know what they want to do at at an early age. Um, but sometimes you find it later, and sometimes you don't find anything at all, and that's all three of these things are great and awesome, and they're all at the same level. But I was looking for something or waiting to get to my breaking point to finally come to the realization that I can't run away from my actual purpose because that was kind of what I was hoping for. Doing a corporate job for someone else, for like my family and other people, and doing the status quo and hoping I get by. And when you're doing the status quo and you realize it pushes you to your breaking point because it's so monotonous and so hard and so draining, and you're barely getting paid enough to live with that. It was insane. And then so right before I quit, I had already gotten skipped for my job. I had already gotten skipped for a promotion, and then right before I quit, I got skipped for another promotion by another um, teammate. And sometimes there's biases in the workplace, but trust me when I say I had to deal with a lot of biases. And also, I was also getting pay increases, and I had no issues. I had no problems with my work on every single report I had. I've had no negative feedback ever. So yes, there were problems that naturally come with the job, and then there were problems with me being there. So yeah, I I was planning on going to school, to art school next year, and applying um this year in like September, or the application's opening in September. And I literally got to a point about a month and a half ago to where I just realized I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait another year of my life. I literally could not spend another 365 days of being alive at this job. It just got that bad. It got to the point where I did not care that I didn't have another plan. Like, some people on YouTube, like, they'll be like, I quit my job with nothing left, and it's like, girl, you have YouTube. You know, you have at least 20K. You have a lot of consistent videos. You're already getting, you have something to say that if I invest more into this, it's already going to work within like the next couple of months. I didn't have that. Um but what I did have was the fact that um my parents still have I have both parents, and they may not live where I want to live at, but they still have a bedroom. And that was all I needed. I'm so serious. Like, that's just where I am. And so my situation specifically was I just needed the time to make content on YouTube, like the content I wanted to make, which I want to do documentaries, I want to do how-to videos, I want to show like my design process, my drawing process, and I want to meet other people like this. And I'm tired of knowing that other people can do what I want to do, and I'm for some reason feeling stuck because I can't leave. I'm feeling like I can't leave a freaking corporate job. You know, it's it really got to that point where my nervous system was telling me, you have to stay at this job because this is how you stay safe and this is how you pay your bills. My nervous system was really saying, this is the only way you can make money. This is the only way you can sustain yourself. This is the only way you can stay in your city and survive. And my brain started to feel again like this is the only thing you can do. And if I stayed here for another year, I guarantee you I would have been completely scared to make any decision. And I will say this, like, before I sent that resignation letter, for two, because I gave myself 2 weeks to really sit down and decide if I really wanted to do this, if I really, really wanted to leave my job and really wanted to make the decision to go into what I want for the rest of my life. Like, after I send that resignation letter, it's this or nothing else. And for 2 weeks, I was barely sleeping. I was crying. I was stressing out. I was um just like, you could just see the stress in my body because I was really thinking about it hard. Because it's, to almost anybody, especially in 2026, everybody's trying to get a job. A job. Everybody's trying to get a corporate job. Everybody's trying to get a remote job. Everyone is trying to get a job that can pay you to pay your bills, pay you enough to pay your bills. And on one hand, yes, that's true, but I can't I can't do that. And I'm 26. If the best time for me to make a dumb decision is right now. It is. Not at 27, not at 28. And also, yeah, whatever decision, whatever time you decide to make that, you that's when you do it because there's no guarantee. Nothing is guaranteed. And that's also the other thing. My job, my corporate job was not guaranteed. My future was not guaranteed. Me getting into the school if I waited next year was not guaranteed. So, yeah, it's just in retrospect, me quitting my job to to anybody is not going to matter. But it's just the fact that I want to invest in myself for this year, and I really want to do it. I really want to have something that's worth it. I really want to spend my time on something that's worth it. And one day I can live from doing what I want to do. Um, and until then, I have a couple of months to pay my rent, and I think also within that time my lease will be up, and we'll see what happens then. But most likely, the reality is, I'm just gonna have to move back in with one of my parents, and that's fine because for me, I just need a space to make content and to make clothes. And as long as I have access to the city, then I'm good because I can still get jobs, I can still get opportunities, and I'm just trying to make content and gain experience for now to then get into school and then to then have a another job. And that's just that cuz I'm doing exactly what someone would do in their teen years because I'm starting a new life. Um and yeah, yeah. Um it is so scary. It is so frightening. I mean, I think this either reached the level or higher to the same respect to like the fear in my body as like when I came out. Um and it's just like why? But it's just like the cuz it wasn't just quitting my job, it was like do you really want to commit to a new life? Do you really want to commit to a entirely new career and industry? Do you really want to commit to your purpose? Do you really want to commit to this one thing and you have no idea how it's going to turn out? Do you really want to lose this one stable thing, and once you do this thing there is no going back? Is that what you want to do? But for me it's like what else is there? What else is there? If you have something you want to do, then you really should go for it because what's the alternative? Like the alternative is you do something and you get and it might pay off, it might pay your bills, and the thing is like the corporate thing just made me feel so uncomfortable because it really made life feel like a game, like a board game, like Toy Story. Like it made life feel way more animatronic. It made life feel less real. Like why is my job only giving me the weekends? Like I don't know, it just felt so weird. Like and then everybody's just so happy to like use the PTO to travel, but I'm not gonna lie, sometimes a lot of times I wish corporate life would make me happy. I wish like just using my hours to travel to some tourist place and then coming back and coming to work and finding someone with another corporate job in my other corporate city and we're both looking to be managers of the corporate jobs and then have babies and I wish I had that life because it would be so easy. Everybody else is doing it. You would have so many references. You would have so much help. It would be so much easier to do it like that. But that's not. And like that's it was there was so many things that I had to come to terms with before making this decision. Like I had to realize I'm just not on the same playing field as everybody else. I'm not I can't have the same goals as everybody else. I can't compare myself to everybody else, whether I'm doing good or bad or miserable. Um, and so yeah, there was just a lot of things I had to realize before, sending that resignation letter. Um, and I will say, it was only at this moment. It was only a couple days ago that I could have sent that resignation letter. I couldn't have done it a year ago. I couldn't have done it 2 years ago. Um, and also, let me add that I had found an apprenticeship for design and tailoring in my city, and that's also my new part time job. So let me add that these are the conditions that I used to be to be able to leave my job. Um, I knew that both of my parents had still had my bedroom open for me to use, and that I could still come back home at any time. Um, and then also I got a part-time apprenticeship for my career that I wanted to go in, and then I also roughly have about 2 months worth of rent, and I think my lease ends in I think 3 or 4 months. So and I am able to get out if I request with like a little bit more like a fee. Um, so yeah, and my conditions that I needed was I just needed a space to make my clothes and designs, and then also just be close enough to the city to connect with other artists. That that was mine. Um, and also the only things I had to pay was my rent because I kept all my bills low. Like my job did not allow me. I literally wasn't able to leave the city. Like with my corporate job, I could only pay the bills I had. So I was always very frugal because I didn't it my corporate job didn't even allow me to travel like that. I still haven't left the country. I still haven't left the country. Um, I haven't even been to the West Coast. I've been to New York City like once or twice, and I could only have been there for like 3 days. So yeah, um, I have very few bills. Over the years, I cut down so much because I also knew that I was planning to get out, and I knew that one day I was not gonna have this income. So I chopped down a lot. Um, and right now, my biggest bill is my rent, and yeah, that's my biggest worry right now. But no, like also yeah, I'm 26, so I am able to make my own decisions, and I can live with them, and it doesn't really matter what my parents say. But if if you are young and you are still naturally worried about what your parents are going to say, that's valid because that's me too, and that's realistic and it's real. Um, and also, I will say, I don't think anyone is going to say, yeah, do it, quit your job. Everybody's going to tell you exactly what every other YouTube video is going to tell you, or what every other TV channel is going to tell you. Everybody can't get a job. Everybody's looking for this, and it's like that is very true and that's very real. But at the same time, you have to listen to your conditions and the context of your life. Um, for me it was just like as soon as I got an in into my industry, as soon as someone found me and I found the person I was looking for to have a part-time job, my body and my instincts told me that, like, told me precisely that, okay, it's time for a shift, it's time for a change. And even then it was so hard getting rid of this job because this really was the only thing I've really gotten. But on the flip side, I will say it was really nice for me to choose to quit instead of getting fired, or you know having to leave on an emergency, or having to leave when I'm just super mad and super angry. And so I did kind of like being able to leave like this, but it's very scary to um, leave corporate and not have another corporate job. That's not what I wanted. But yeah, I hope this video finds you, and I hope you watch this, and I hope it really does give you inspiration. And if not inspiration, insight. I hope this gives you comfort in the fact that you're not the only one, and who you're not the only one who wants to leave their job. You're not the only one who may feel like you're making the right decision, but it's a dumb decision. You're not the only one who is making a decision and you don't know what's going to happen next. You're not the only one right now in 2026, in all the conditions that we're in and everything that we see. There are other people out there who are just as aware as you are of how hard it is to be alive and to still make decisions for you to thrive later in life.